All right. So we are going to get rolling here.
All
So
right.
Oh no.
thanks for talking with me tonight, everybody. So how about we do a round of intros here? So I know all of you, and I think you guys know all each other because you're part of our Alberta Athlete Input Council. And for those that may be watching this and don't know everybody on the call, let's just do a round of intros. So I'm Johnny Byrne, and I'm CEO at Special Olympics Alberta. And Jessica, how about we start with you?
I'm Jessica McLean, and I'm an Edmonton athlete.
Awesome. And how about we do this? And how long have you been in Special Olympics, and what sports do you do?
I've been in Special Olympics for 19 years, and I do snowshoeing, swimming, basketball, introduction sport training.
Awesome. Josh.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's bad news. Well, my name is Job Ronnie from Special Olympics. Wow. I don't know how many years, but it could be like around 20 or 22, I think, but I'm not think I really don't know yet. I don't have it's too many sports, but I don't want to name them.
Yeah, I know we don't got enough time for that, Josh. You're in pretty much every sport that St. Albert
Yeah, I
offers,
know.
for sure.
Yeah, no, I am.
Awesome.
Yeah, everyone.
And Dallas.
My name is Dallas. I'm from St. Albert. I'm the athlete rep on the SOA board of directors, and I do softball and floor hockey.
Awesome. And how long have you been in Special Olympics?
20 years.
Awesome. Mitch.
Uh-oh.
My name is Mitch from St. Albert. I've been in Special Olympics for 5 years, and I do basketball, softball, and floor hockey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Declan.
My name's Declan. I'm a St. Albert athlete. I've been in Special Olympics for like 8 years, and I do bowling, curling, floor hockey, and softball.
Awesome. And do you also do you're in school too, aren't you, Declan?
Yes.
And you do some
First day back.
Oh, awesome.
And I'm involved in a lot of things in my school.
Yeah.
Too many to name. I do tech club. I'm the badminton team manager, basketball scorekeeper, student council, tech club, and who knows what else.
And don't you also do some unified sports?
Yes.
Awesome.
My teacher is involved in that.
Yeah. Great. Andrew.
Oh, not yet.
Yes.
You intro yourself and give us how long you've been in Special Olympics and the sports that you do?
Yeah. My name's Andrew. I've been in Special Olympics for 14 years. The sports I play are golf, floor hockey, speed skating, track and field, soccer, and I'm from Spruce Grove District.
Awesome. Now I know, and we also have, Caitlin and Chelsea are on the call here too, who are awesome supporters of our Athlete Input Council. And I know there's members that are not able to make the call tonight from the Athlete Input Council, but we know we're obviously missing them. But we've got a good cross section of our athletes here. And the reason why we have everybody on the part of this meeting right now is because we wanted to just talk about how things are going. And I was interested to hear from the athletes and to see what questions and thoughts, ideas, concerns that they may have as we get ready to get back into sport potentially in Alberta. We've had some big announcements lately. We've announced the cancellation of our provincial games. A lot of questions about what Special Olympics is going to look like in the coming months, what things are looking like as we do virtual events. So I wanted to open it up to the athletes. We don't have anything specifically planned or scripted here. We really wanted it to be a conversation. So I'm going to open it up to any athletes right now. And it doesn't have to be questions just about those areas. So feel free to ask questions of me, and that's why I'm here. So who would
I'll go first.
All right, Mitch.
So Johnny, is Unified going to be back at Belrose come next year just because it got canceled this year, or what are they doing with it?
Good question. So right now with Unified, I think sports going back into schools is the same as sports going back into communities. So right now schools are focused on just getting schools started up. We're not sure because each school and each school board is different about what they're going to be able to offer, what level of sport they're able to offer, and then when it comes to Unified, what level of events. I would say a Unified event of the size that we had planned for last May, like we were expecting almost 700 people to be part of our Unified event at Belrose, and I don't think that we'd be able to have that level of event. So, but we'll work with. We're going to work with the Metro region, who's a big supporter, and we'll decide when that's going to happen. So, Mitch, I think we would definitely like to do something at Belrose because they've been such a great partner. But it all depends on how things are going from health if it's going to be back there. So, I think Unified is going to be back, but it's going to be like our Special Olympics sports. It's going to take time to get back to an event of that size.
Okay, thank you.
Johnny,
Yeah, Jessica.
I was wondering, could we cancel the provincial games? What's going to happen for national games?
Yep. No, that's Jessica. That's a really good question because that's one I've got from a number of different athletes. I know that was one of the because Dallas is on our provincial board, and let our board know about that. And that was the first question Dallas had for me. So right now, it all depends on our public health and how things go. So we really hope we're going to be in a position to host not games, but competitions next summer, where we can have athletes from multiple communities get together. But it totally depends how things go. And if that happens and we're able to offer, say, a swim championship or a track championship, then we could use those types of events to qualify athletes to go to a national games if that were to happen. But that totally depends on if we're able to bring together those. But I think the whole point of that is it would be easier and safer if things progress in a positive way to be able to bring together smaller groups of athletes in individual sports than say something like a provincial games where we're going to have 1,400 athletes, volunteers, and then plus spectators and family members and all those kind of things. So that would definitely be our plan if we're able to get there. Would be do things sports by sport.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here, even if we do have individual championships, Johnny, and we still have to do social distancing, how are we gonna do track competitions like running? You've either got to stagger the runners or you got to do something so there's still social distancing on the track.
Yeah, Dallas, and I think the reality is things have to change a lot before we're able to do competitions like the way we've seen them. So, and that's where I'd say I hope by next summer we can be in a position where we can do some types of competitions. But if we're still in that same type of situation where we need to obey distancing and be in that type of situation, then we probably would not be doing even individual sport competitions. It would probably be smaller groups, and it would probably be virtual competitions and not in-person competitions. Because especially when it comes to that type of competition, one thing we know about when we compete is that there's a lot more breathing and a lot more perspiration and a lot more risk areas, and that's sort of why competition is sort of in that last stages. So And that's why right now, like, we're not able to say, yeah, we're definitely going to be able to do that level of competition, because we really don't know. The best word I can say is we hope we can do that. And then if we can't, then we got to look at, okay, what would our other options be? And that's sort of how this whole thing is going to go. We look, say, how are we doing? Are we getting closer? What does it look like? What are our public health? And then we modify. And then as we get closer to and we realize what we got to do, then we just try and figure it out as we go.
Have you considered certain sports, like, for example, let's say a sport like alpine skiing, because you have one person on a hill,
Yep.
for example. Downhill skiing, I mean.
Yep.
What would you do? Would that be a sport you would consider having a competition for more easily than, per se, something like track or floor hockey, where you have people closer together?
I think definitely, like Andrew, I think some sports are in a much better position that we would be able to offer competitions in those before others. Like, we know golf would be one, and we know, like, golf, but that's the type of sport where it's like, okay, we can limit the number of athletes and spacing and make sure that we can make that happen. We know, like, our team sports are much harder because you got multiple individuals that are going to be in close proximity. So I think some of our outdoor sports would definitely happen before some of our indoor sports when it comes to competition. And that'll be one of those kind of things that we look at and we realize, okay, snowshoeing may become a sport that might be more popular this winter, because that's something that's going to happen outside. You can do spacing, and it's so that'll be one of those kind of things where, like, we'll see what happens. And I think in some of these sports, one of the things that we'll start to look at too is going to be, okay, if we can do some time thing or score things for individuals of doing virtual competitions. And we know that's what a lot of different sports are doing, where it's like, okay, I can get an individual time for my, like, just say, Jessica, if you were just able to get in and do swimming, and you can do a timed event, but then why not, hey, we can do our virtual competitions for swimmers across Canada doing in that event. And those kind of things are stuff that we'll try and look at.
Have you also considered, for certain things, like if you were to have a sport, COVID testing for athletes and people involved, to be able to hold an event like that?
I think I think, Andrew, that would depend on the testing and the protocols and things like that. But I don't think we're going to be in a position where we would be able to do like a rapid testing type scenario where you're going to get the testing results in like a half hour in order to do that. Like, that would be the type of testing that you would need in order to get into that type of situation. And I can't see us being able to do something like that with the resources that we have. Like, I know that's what they do in the NHL bubble. It's like, if you're going to go inside the bubble and work at the food concessions or something like that, you've got to do a rapid test before you can get in there. But obviously the NHL and the NBA and places like that have a few more resources than we have got at our disposal. But also, it's one of those kind of things, with how much rapidly this changes, who knows what it's going to look like in a couple of months or 6 months down the line. So that's something we're definitely very aware of, Andrew, but I don't see that as something that we would put in our plans right now. But hey, things change. Things have changed a lot in this over the past 6 months, and who knows what the next 6 months would look like.
Yeah.
Now, how about I get a question for all of you? So who is, because I know each affiliate right now is looking at the potential of starting up and when that's going to happen and what sports they would potentially do, and they're working with their staff to figure that out. For each of you, are you considering, if sports are able to start up in your affiliate, are you considering going back to be part of those sports?
Well, it depends on what sports that are going to be offered. Like I do for bowling, I do lane support. So that's probably what I'm going to end up doing this year until maybe January, where maybe possibility, I'm not saying we can, but get back to floor hockey and basketball.
Mm-hmm. So what are some of I'm wondering from your perspectives, like what are some of the biggest questions or even concerns that you may have about getting back to sport and programs right now?
Like,
many
what's
people-
bowling going to look like in the next couple months when we get back?
What's bowling
Yeah.
going to look like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like that's the interesting thing about going back to sport, because there's the plans that we have, and because we have very specific expectations and requirements that our affiliates need to meet in order to be eligible to start programs. And then on top of that, our affiliates need to work with their facilities, because the facilities that we run our sports in, they have specific rules and criteria that they need to meet by public health in order for them to be able to run their businesses. So I think what you would see, Mitch, with bowling specifically, is that you would not see the same number of athletes that would be part of a program. Like, you're not going to see every single lane packed with athletes like we would. You're going to see less spectators. You would see more expectations around like the cleaning of the equipment, and then trying to minimize the sharing of bowling balls for sure. So, because I think you're always trying to limit. And I would say also as well with the sport like bowling, we'd be looking for athletes and individuals inside to wear masks as well. Like, I think those would be some of the things that you would look at. But outside of that, outside of the different numbers and looking to try and we're not going to be seeing the hugs and high fives that we usually have, like after a strike and those kind of things. Like, those things would be different. But outside of that, the bowling is going to look like just like bowling, and sort of the scores and things like that. Like those, that would be the same.
Now, they're probably going to be 2 different time slots, right?
Yeah, I would say like that's because each of our affiliates right now, and that's what we're doing with them, is looking at looking for what they're trying to do for each of the sports, because it's different for program to program because of the size of their bowling center, how many athletes that may want to take part in that. But a lot of the programs it's like we need to limit the size of individuals that are going to be part of an individual program. So it's what you call a cohort. So say it would take St. Albert perspective or another community, they may have, where they usually have 1 bowling program, they could have 2 bowling programs that they take part in, and that could alternate weeks, or they could you could have 2 bowling programs in one night with groups of athletes. The big thing there is that they try and minimize the athletes that mix between those programs. So if for some reason, if one of those athletes or volunteers was infected or was suspected, then you would only have that small group that would be impacted, not everybody in there. So that's sort of what that looks like.
Okay. Now I'm getting a better perspective of it. Thank you.
Now, Jessica, did you have a question too?
How many people per lane would that have in swimming? Like,
Oh, in swimming,
Yeah.
I think Jessica, I know with swimming, that's another one of those facilities where there's very specific criteria about how many swimmers can be in per lane, and also as well from pool to pool, there's very specific criteria about entries and exits. I know one of the things that's really limited now for a lot of areas, and like I'm sure Declan, you would see that at school as well, is like the use of lockers and things like that. Like, they're really trying to minimize areas.
Like, we're not allowed to use lockers.
Yeah, because and I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut down on areas where people congregate, like where
And
you
like-
just get groups of
and
people
only-
together.
And like at Barrows, you're only allowed you're like there's designated entrances and exits.
Yep.
That they're asking the students to go in, and like they're asking the students so that way, like, and there's one way in the hallway.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Jessica, like that's something that I think right now with each of depending on the pools and their size and their entrance and exit plans, things like that, that's where they'll figure out what the capacity is per lane. But I think like everything else, it's not going to look the same, because I know your swim lanes are pretty packed when you're swimming in there and you have individuals that are going. So I know that's going to be that'll look different. It won't be as crowded as what they usually were.
Right.
Johnny, have you had an issue with finding volunteers? Do you know,
Yeah.
like, have you
Yeah.
heard from?
Yeah, so I would
From
say it's different from community to community, and like that's one of the things when it comes to like a program. Because so obviously, number one thing that we need is that we need athletes that are interested to take part in a sport. We need if we have the athletes, then we need the facility to be able to do it. And then the third thing is that we need to be able to have volunteers to support that program. So obviously, we have the athletes that are interested. Right now, like with each community, we work with them to figure out, okay, what facilities are available, because we know right now schools will be an issue to external groups, so that's going to limit a number of our sports. And the other big thing as we start to look at and this is one of the big things we're working with our affiliates on right now with the startup is, okay, we want to do that sport, we have the facility, but do we have the volunteers that are interested to come out and help? So, and I would say, like Kaylin, right now, it's different from program to program, because really it depends on that like the demographic of those volunteers. Like you have, because you could have some volunteers that would be considered in a high risk category, who would say, okay, I can't take that chance, I can't take that risk of coming out and being part of that, exposing myself. So I think it's different from program to program right now, and I think that's the biggest thing we're finding out right now with affiliates is finding out what volunteers are interested in coming back. But I'd say, yeah, it is. We're not going to have the same amount that we usually would, and I think that is going to limit some programs.
Totally. No, I understand that, and I know every affiliate's different too, right? Like but I just figured maybe every affiliate would probably have that issue right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we know like across the province right now, so we're working with each of our different affiliates, and we have some affiliates that are like, yeah, no, we definitely want to try to start programs up in the fall, and we'll have some that are saying that, yeah, no, we're not comfortable right now. We're going to try in early 2021. And I think like where we're at in this step, like everyone is, so right now we ask affiliates, do you want to try and start? Because we have a plan that we send out and said, this is the things that you'll need to do to be open safely. And then if they say, yeah, no, we really want to try it, then we take it to the next step and we work closely with them to determine, okay, well, what are your plans? What are your facilities? So we can help and ensure, okay, that we're good with the plan that they have and to do it safely. And that's sort of the stage that we're at right now. And we'll have some affiliates who initially said, yes, no, we really want to go, have sort of said, yeah, no, we're not that comfortable. We're going to take it a little while longer. And I think the key thing for us is, as much as we all really want to get Special Olympics up and running, because we know it's something everybody misses, our volunteers miss, our athletes miss, it's also the kind of thing where it's like, we don't want to rush things into for people right now, for sure.
Yeah. And now, is there something that the ALC could do in terms of sourcing PPE or anything like that? Or is there a chunk of money from Special Olympics Alberta that's kind of covering that?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've done with all of our programs is that we're sending out sort of some startup funds to each of our affiliates, and we've looked at some different scenarios of, okay, do we buy masks for everyone? Do we do this? But then we start to get into the scenarios of trying to get them out to people and figuring out what works best. So one of the things that we decided is, okay, we're gonna provide funding to each of our affiliates, understanding that there is going to be added costs to starting up a program, from either cleaning to facilities to PPE, stuff like that. So we just want to say, okay, we acknowledge that and we want to help you out. So we're sending funding to all of our affiliates to help with some of those added costs to start up.
Well, that's good. Well, then I guess all of you guys individually, if the programs do need more, that could be something that you guys could put some of the fundraising towards. Mm-hmm. You could even do like put a sign up at the bottle depot, right? Drop off your bottles to help us raise money. But we also have to see what we actually need first before.
Well, and I think with the input council, like I think some of the big things that is going to be really important over the next couple of months is going to be around just connecting with athletes and finding out, okay, what are the big questions that we have? Because we're going to be trying to continuously send out information to athletes and provide them support in any way we can. But also too is that sometimes we don't hear from all the athletes, and you're a good voice and a connection point with athletes. So we want you reaching out to athletes, and we want you letting us know, okay, this is what we're really hearing, or these are some of the concerns that we have. And what would
Josh?
you? Nope, sorry.
Sorry, Josh, do you have any concerns of going back for any certain sports? Because I know I saw you the other day. We did a workout the other day, Josh and I did. We've been trying to do one together for about a year.
Yeah. Well, nothing. Well, nothing in. Well, nothing specific, but Jessica was talking about swimming.
Yeah.
But I have a quick question for that too. I know I do swimming too, but we have too many athletes. But we have too many athletes in our lanes, and we have 3 lanes, and like we have 3 lanes and too many people in our lanes. Like everyone's like bumping heads and I don't know what our body parts is touching, but and plus I knew it, and I don't know about curling, but I don't know how many people are doing curling, but I don't know specific about that either. But I have one quick question about track and field. People always touch the software.
Mhm.
You know what you said about cleaning, about cleaning.
Yep.
I did doing that too.
Yeah, like I think anything with
Like
that uses,
cleaning the software.
yeah, I think anything that uses implements, Josh, there'll be cleaning involved for sure.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the big expectations for sure.
but cleaning, I'm not really interested in it, but it's not really my sport anyway. But
This might be the year you guys all try different sports though, right? Like, I mean, I've only curled once in my life and I did it last year and I was like, this is so much fun. How have I not done it before? It's not easy. It's really hard, but it's actually really fun. And it might be a year for you guys to actually try a different sport that you never used to play. And you might really enjoy it. And I think the cool thing about this is if, let's say you're not a swimmer and you do swimming, you might actually really enjoy swimming. And that's a sport that you could do by yourself sometimes if you need, to have that hour a week just to get some exercise or even just like a mental break, right? Like if you don't want to go to the gym or you don't want to go for a walk or see your friends, if you just want to go swimming instead, this might be something, or might be an opportunity for you guys to learn how to enjoy it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. Don't do it next year.
So I know one of the things I was really interested in is because like over the spring and summer, we have our Healthy at Home and lots of different workouts and things that happen and things that athletes can access from different provinces and different states. And we do social club and stuff like that. And so I know we're definitely planning on continuing with a number of those things, but one of the things that we want to do as well is create an actual like virtual program that an athlete would register for. And that would be because we know a number of our athletes aren't going to be able to access or are not comfortable in going back to programs. And some of our affiliates aren't going to be able to start up programs right away. So this fall, we want to be able to offer a virtual program that an athlete can register for and be part of. That would be a couple of days a week, and talked about different things of like, I know that there's the social side. We also have some really great people in the health area side of things to do sort of some health education. But I'd be interested if we were to offer something like that, what would be some of the things that you think would be that athletes would like when it comes to a program? Say if you were to register to be part of this and okay, it's going to be this time of night 2 days a week or something like that, what would be some of the things that you'd be really interested in, or you think athletes would be interested in? Have any of you done any of the workouts from that we've promoted? Have you done any of the Special Olympics Canada workouts from any other chapters from online?
No,
do-
I've seen the video.
Right, go ahead.
Well,
They've been different times, so it's hard to see it live.
Mm.
So, like if something was offered like that in Alberta or in the West, it would be a lot. It would be a lot. Well, it would be more convenient.
mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and I think that's something, and I think that'll be something that we'll actually reach out to. We'll want the input council's feedback on, is because we will have some different ideas and be really interested in some of the thoughts that you have on putting something like that together. Because I think what we want to do in this is not necessarily is to have something that, okay, this is going to be 2 days a week, and I know, okay, at this time, this is where I got to go and be part of it. And I think have sort of some specific goals and pieces set out so that you're building towards something rather than just sort of showing up every now and then. Because I think that's part of this as well, is if there's no sort of set goal to it, then you can lose interest in it or move away from it and that kind of thing. And so I think that'd be something I'm really interested in getting feedback on. So we'll definitely connect with the input council on that for sure.
What about Zumba? Would you guys do Zumba virtual? It's like that dance workout.
Yeah, I know what Zumba is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be kind of cool.
I know what that is.
All right, who's gonna volunteer to be the Zumba instructor? I'm volunteering Mitch.
Yeah, I feel like that's right up Mitch's alley.
No, I'm thinking we should get Chelsea to do it. Chelsea Pedwell.
Whoa, you
Oh, yeah,
guys. How did I get looped into that?
No, not you, Fiddler.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, Pedwell.
Pedwell, yeah.
Awesome.
Or Matt Pedwell.
Johnny, did you know that Matt is a certified yoga instructor?
I did not. Now I know
Yeah.
things that you learn.
Yoga's a good one.
All right. So, any other questions, things that that you may have out there right now? I'll throw it out there for one more round. This has been awesome. It's been great. I think we'll definitely do one of these. I'd like to do one of these again, especially if we're able to get back to some of our programs again later in the fall, just to talk about what that's like. But definitely looking forward to staying connected with our input council. So any other questions that you may have right now?
So
What is the AGM going to look like? I know it's going to be virtually, but is it going to be just like this?
Yeah, it will. This year it will look like that. And we'll have to, and I know one of the components that I've got to connect with Dallas and Caitlin and Chelsea on is going to be the athlete report component of that, because we definitely want to have an athlete component of that, because the day is going to be a bit different where we don't have the same opportunities to be like jumping in and out of rooms and things like that. And so, and the athletes not traditionally, there's not a formal business report for the athletes as part of the AGM, but I think just the format it's going to be this year, I think we really want to include that. So, but yeah, I think, Mitch, it is going to look very similar to this.
Now, how are all the awards going to be awarded? Like, are they
Yeah,
going to be?
Yeah, that's gonna be different. Like that would be something separate because I think like the AGM itself is like that's a business part of the organization. Like that's where we pass our financials, we elect the board of directors, we pass any bylaws, we do sort of our annual report, and that's required for us to stay as a association within Alberta. So like that's a sort of one of those legal and business requirements that we have. So there's going to be that, which is going to be very formal. And then there's going to be, right now we're looking at the timing and things around that when we do like the celebration stuff where we're going to announce, we'll do award winner announcements and things like that. So we don't want to try and do everything at once. So it's like, all right, let's sit around a Zoom meeting for 4 hours and go through things. So I think it's going to be more of, there'll be the business AGM side, which is going to be around an hour, and then we would do like a celebration side that you would usually see that would be part of our like our luncheon, where we would present our award winners and celebrate, and that would be something separate that we would do. So, and we're still looking at things like that. Like we know right now our AGM will be October 17th, and because that's sort of when it's set for. The other pieces are going to happen around them. We're not sure when.
Okay.
Dallas, did you have a question too?
Yes, I do, John. So we know that all the athletes are devastated that the provincial games are canceled, and I've been hearing things from athletes, and Katie's been hearing things from athletes. What do you want the ALIC to do to support the athletes during this difficult time?
I would say the most important thing is that canceling the provincial games is canceling an event. It's not canceling Special Olympics. And I think that's the most important message we can get across. And I think the other key thing is as soon as we're able to safely offer competitions and get athletes together to do what we would do at provincial games, and whether it's in sports or whatever else, like we're going to do that. And I think that's the most important part of that. And there is going to be more provincial games. Like there is going to be a provincial games that we host in 2023 in Strathcona County, which we're pumped. And we're hope that we're able to offer competitions as good as we would have seen at provincial games next summer. And whether it's next summer or whether it's going to be in 2022, like that's the piece we got to say. So I think the most important thing right now is to be positive, is that this is something that there are going to be more competitions. This is going to happen. And so just, sorry, my kids are jumping in to say hi. So I'd say, yeah, the absolute most important thing is to be positive and say there is going to be more competition. This is going to happen. But I understand the being disappointed about provincial games being canceled. This is big. It's big for the organization. It's the first time this has happened for us since we've been offering provincial summer games. So this was not small for us. And I think one thing for athletes too is that athletes across the country are feeling this, because every province right now has canceled their provincial summer games that would have been scheduled in 2021. So that's the first time that this has happened across Canada. So this is big for our movement right now. And I would say it's not even just Canada. It's the US, it's in other parts of the world as well.
One thing me and Katie were talking about is both of us putting up a video and sending it to Kiefer saying, if you're feeling down or depressed about any the pandemic or games being canceled, then we're here to talk. Just where you can reach us by email, and we'll talk to you guys. You're not in this alone.
I think that's a great idea, Dallas. And I would say I think that would be a good thing to do. I like the idea of you and Katie being able to do that and putting out that message on behalf of the athletes. I think that's sort of what this is meant to be too. It's like, okay, like we're here, there's things going on. There's people here to listen to us and that are going to answer questions and hear us. But I really like that thought. So I'd love to have like Kiefer reach out to you guys and see if we can set something up to do that, because I think that's a great idea.
Oh, absolutely. Me and her, we talked about this. We're like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think one of the things that we want to do there too is to be able to provide, reach out, but then also give some other opportunities of, hey, were you aware of this that you can do, or there's these things where you can still stay involved. And I think from the input council side of things, it's like, okay, is there some more things that we can be doing or creating that may that could help our athletes during this time? But I really like that idea, Dallas.
Yeah, because me and her basically talk every day, so it's like, yeah, I'll give her the 811, say this is what we talked about. Johnny's totally on board with us doing this video, and yeah, and if Kiefer can reach out to both of us, then we'll definitely do this. And if you want anything specific said in the video, then yeah, we're totally on board doing it.
That'd be awesome. That's great. All right. So I think this is good, unless there's any last call for questions. I think we're good. No, I really appreciate your time and just being able to talk about some of these really challenging things we're going through right now and some of the uncertainty. And I think to Dallas's point as well, like to the athletes, that's for me to you all as well. It's like, if you're having questions, concerns, definitely always reach out. And I think and thank you for being there for athletes as well, because I think it's really important that we have you. You're an input council because you provide input from the athletes, but also that you take input from athletes. So we want to make sure that we continue to put you out there as leaders and someone that athletes can go to. So thank you for that, and look forward to connecting again. And yeah, stay safe out there. Stay active. Get out while you can. And weather's still supposed to be half decent, so enjoy that. And I definitely look forward to being in touch with you all soon. So stay safe and talk soon. And go Special Olympics.
Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a
Thanks,
great night.
Johnny.
Bye now.
You too, Ben.